Welcome everyone to another night review. Today we have the 2021 Kia Sorento SX Prestige with the X-Line package, and today we're going to take a look at all these exterior lights, the interior lights, and we're going to take it out on the road, go for a test drive, and I'll tell you exactly how well these headlights do. So starting out right up front, first of all, if you're new to the channel, I do night reviews on a regular basis, so subscribe for more. But right up front, you're going to get LED headlights on every single model. The headlights are going to be a little bit different though. These are the SX and higher, the projector headlights, so you get reflectors on the lower models, and then we also get this nice LED daytime running light running there. The EX trim level is going to give you LED fog light, so everything above the EX and including the EX give you the LED fog lights. Over here, that daytime running light actually shares the blinker, so that is nice. These are not adaptive or anything like that, but I'll show you how well they work and how nice they look out on the road in a little bit. Now check out this paint color. This is called Aruba Green because this has the X-Line package. This is exclusive to the X-Line. I think it looks really nice. To give you a more wholesome look, first of all, you can see the marker light on the side of that headlight housing. It's also got LED turn signals in the mirror on every single model. We've got some large 20-inch dark wheels with this X-Line package. Got a large roof rack, but I like the lighting profile, the overall design of this Kia Sorento, especially for this redesigned model. And we've got full LED brake lights and tail lights, including the signal. And I'm glad the tail light is not like separate, or the turn signal is not separated down low. The license plate lights are not LED, but that's really not a big deal. And you actually get reverse lights down here. They're not LED, but everything else above is LED for the brake light and blinker. And let's go ahead and look in the cargo area real quick. This has a hands-free liftgate if you want to use that on the EX trim level and up. So before we look back here, you've got illuminated buttons to lower it or to even lock it and lower it. And this has 3 rows, so it's not as big as some 3 rows, but it does have 3 total rows. And look how well illuminated this is with an LED light. So there's one big LED light right up there that lights up this entire cargo area pretty well. And this is with the 3rd row folded down, but space back here is actually good. And check it out. In the 3rd row, you even get illuminated USB ports. Now look at this paint. Look how metallic-y this is. Aruba Green. It's like a grayish, greenish color. Looks really nice. Now a quick look at the back seat. So the window switch is going to have some illumination. There's no real ambient lighting back here, but you've got LED lighting on both sides of this panoramic roof. So this whole back seat is pretty well lit up. And then you can probably see just a little white light down there. That's for a USB port, and it is illuminated. And check it out, just like the Telluride, you've got these USB ports in the front seats. And as long as you have the key fob on you, it does have a little bit of approach lighting. Our top of the line gives us this power folding mirror as you approach, and then you've got the illuminated door handle. Okay, now hopping into the front seat. Let me show you the seats first, and then we'll actually hop in and take a look. These are some real leather seats with like this 3D pattern on them. They're pretty cool. I like the way they look. This is a rust color, which is an optional color with this X-Line package, but more LED lights. Everything is pretty bright in here. Let's go ahead and hop in. Now we are inside, and let's go ahead and start it up. So foot on the brake, push button start, and you've got this really nice digital display right here. The steering wheel's got all the nice illuminated buttons. So you've got this white backlighting on there. It's very clear and easy to see, so no problems with that. This digital display is just on the Prestige model, or the Prestige with the X-Line package, and it's actually really crystal clear night and day. So it's all controlled by the steering wheel, and it's reconfigurable. You can see different information in the middle, like your trip computer, driver assistant stuff, all of this, like trip computer type of stuff, even traction. You can even pick more items there or go back to your driver assistance stuff right there. But check it out. If you even change your drive modes, it's gonna change the gauges too. So these gauges are really graphic-y and they look nice. They can be pretty, dulled down or a little bit aggressive like sport mode. Now over on the door, all of your switch gear is illuminated, like your door switches, your window switches, mirror switches, and then the little button over here is for your interior brightness. So this one controls the interior brightness, like of your digital gauge cluster, and then safety system, your lane keeping, traction control, and then to open up your trunk. So it's nice that all of that is illuminated. The big thing about this interior is that it is pretty dark. There's no ambient lighting or like ambiance really anywhere, so it's pretty dark. I'm sitting close to a light, so there's a light shining in, but you know, all the buttons and switches are illuminated, which is good. And check it out, on the upper trims you get this 10.25 inch screen, so the SX and SX Prestige. Otherwise you get an 8-inch screen. You still have illuminated buttons on the sides, and it's a little bit dimmer than what it looks on the camera, or the camera is a little bit dimmer with these buttons than what it actually is because it's focused on the main screen. But everything's illuminated. Even the volume knob over here is illuminated. See, it was kind of focusing on the brighter objects, but the tuning knob, volume knob, all of that. And there's actually some good stuff on here. So if we go out, we go to settings. This is kind of the irregular screen right there. Go to display, and there's a pretty cool feature that Hyundai and Kia do. So to adjust your brightness, just like other vehicles, you can have the illumination of this screen automatically adjust, or you can adjust it manually. But check this out. It has a blue light filter. Our phones and computers and TVs have this kind of thing because blue light is very bad for your sleep cycles, and this can actually give you a blue light filter to warm up the screen, help eliminate blue light, and it can automatically come on. So the screen in here, the large screen, is not going to interfere with your melatonin production. But as we go down, we've got illuminated controls for our dual zone automatic climate control. A little further on each side, you will see your heated and ventilated seat buttons have illumination. And check that out, there are actually backlit USB ports, 3 of them plus a wireless charging pad. Then of course our shifter has it, and then all of these buttons back here do as well. So you've even got a heated steering wheel button, brake hold, your drive modes, lock your all-wheel drive, parking brake, all the good stuff on here. And check it out, check out this camera. It's a surround vision camera. So I push the button and it shows up on the screen. It will automatically show up when you go into gear too. So now we are in our backup camera. It turns. You can change the view a little bit so you can see a straight line back. You can see next to the body. It's pretty cool. And you can even zoom in on that side over there too. As far as storage areas and all that, nothing is illuminated down there. I turned on the overhead light here. And then the center console also does not have any illumination. It's got a little pull-out tray, but there's no illumination in there at all. How about the glove box? It is lockable, and it does have a little illuminated tray too. Then the Prestige model gives us this automatic dimming rearview mirror, and up overhead you've got touch sensitive LED lights. So both sides are just touch sensitive right there. This little button, it's really strange. You don't have like illuminated controls up here. Like this button right here is to turn on all the lights, but you literally can't see it at all. It doesn't have any backlighting. This one is so that when you open the door or close the door, the lights will turn on. You can turn that off or on. All right, now let's take a look at the beam pattern real quick. So that is a nice bright line. It is pretty wide going across. Always nice to see it go over to that tree. Then over there, it goes all the way to that tree as well. Now, fog lights are off. Now they're on. They don't really give you much for width, which would be nice like most vehicles, but maybe they do help with fog. I haven't been able to use them. There's the high beams, drifted a little bit to the right, but those are still pretty bright at a good height. Now, the facts about these headlights is these top of the line SX and higher, SX, SX Prestige models give you projectors which give you the best possible rating from the IIHS, even though they're not adaptive. But the rest of the trim levels with reflector LED headlights get the worst possible grade. But let's go ahead and get on the road. All right, now let's look at a distance test. So if we zoom all the way in, we're quite a ways away. You can see that hill. Every time that little fire hydrant is illuminated, that's a good sign because that's quite a ways off on that side, and even some light up on the hill over there. And now high beams, pretty bright in the middle. Not great, but definitely good enough. All right, y'all, let's get behind the wheel of this Sorento at night. So the whole point of this night test drive is to give you a good idea of what it's like to actually drive with these lights, because I do a lot of night driving myself, and I want those of you that drive at night to feel comfortable choosing this Kia Sorento and knowing how well it does. So we'll start with this point of view, and then we'll switch over to that camera, which will dim its screen in a second, and zoom in on the headlights on a dark road so you get a good idea of what it's like going around some corners. And we'll even have the automatic high beams off and on sometimes too, and I'll let you know what mode we're in at all times. So this drive is not going to be about the driving dynamics and how well it drives, acceleration, stuff like that. I'll talk just a little bit, but be sure to check out my full review coming out soon after this video if you want to see all those details. But it is really peppy actually with this turbocharged engine. So it's a little more fun than some of you would expect, and definitely peppy enough for most people. Now we're just going to start with the low beams on, the fog lights on, and this first road is pretty well illuminated, but you can still see the cutout from these headlights. Okay, even though we're not on a real dark road, I just turned the high beams on. They're the automatic high beams, which are standard on every trim. The high beams themselves are actually still not on, and that's good because there's oncoming traffic, and maybe it's because the street lights above are just a little bit too bright for the high beams to want to turn on, which is okay. So like in city driving, hopefully they don't turn on most people in the city, but some brands do let their high beams turn on this road. So I'm a little bit curious about that and the threshold on when they will turn on. They're still not on. So that's interesting, still not on. We'll get on a dark road in a second. All right, we have finally made it to our darker road, going through the yellow light, and let's switch over to the other camera right now. Okay, the low beams are still on mischievously. Well, now there's another car over there, and the low beam pattern is settling down. Let the car go by. High beams should turn on. There they go, they just turned on. So they were a little delayed, nice and bright. Okay, I turned the low beams on now. I can see well into that corner with just the low beams. I want to see how they do around the corner, and then we'll get the high beams on again. So those are doing okay. These are not adaptive, but they still have pretty good range. We'll see how they look when we flatten out here in a second or come over the hill. And I can see the reflectors on the road pretty far up there. Let's see how it is coming down. There's a dip, but it's still pretty good. I'm happy with that compared to most vehicles. Now automatic high beams back on, and the high beams are on right away. We'll take a corner with the high beams on. The high beams don't move either, nothing adaptive, but these are still pretty bright. I think pretty much all of you are going to be happy with these headlights. Coming around here, so there's a bright light to the left on the street, and it made our high beams actually shut off. Now the high beams just turned back on. So high beam distance is good straight ahead. I'm going to turn it just to the low beams. No fog lights here. You can see a definite cutoff pattern, and you've got some decent depth out to the side, but not great width. Fog lights back on, and they don't really make a difference in normal day-to-day driving. I'd like to see the width a little bit improved, but nonetheless, these headlights are still impressive. So I can definitely understand why they get a top rating from the IIHS. Now we'll just see if we can run into some traffic with the automatic high beams, but they've been a little slow, a little delayed, even though we've only had a couple chances to use them. And the high beams are on right now. You can see the stop sign really easily. Low beams now. Yeah, still doing pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna get on it a little bit, and we got a car coming up here. And the high beams should turn on as soon as we pass them. And they just now did. So they're a little bit delayed by a few seconds. So if you have the kind of traffic where it's car, brake, they might be driving you nuts a little bit. They were on and they just turned back off, probably because of the street lights. Or maybe not, they just turned back on and they just turned back off. So there is a car that just came up over the hill up there, so it'll probably pick those up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this night review. Be sure to check out my full review if you want to see all the details coming out soon after this video. But subscribe if you want to see more night videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.